here today. I'm joined by Niki Bruckner, fencing photographer extraordinaire. In my opinion, one of, if not the best in the game right now. There's no one putting out, photography that captures the dynamics and the emotion and, just all the emotions in fencing. So thank you very much for joining me, Nikki. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, if you wouldn't mind, just to start, for people who may not know you, just a brief introduction, how you got started with photography, how you got started, what your relationship is with fencing, and how those two worlds have kind of mixed for you.
Okay, so I am from Budapest, Hungary. I don't think many people know that because I don't normally give that away. So I started fencing quite late. I started fencing before I started doing photography, but I was already 19 years old when I started fencing, so it has always been just hobby for me. Um, so I never took it to higher levels. And then I think a little bit later was when I picked up a camera and I just started shooting gigs, small gigs. So I had nothing to do with fencing photography for a long time, actually. I think it was only about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I moved to Amsterdam and I started fencing there straight away. And it was a really nice club with really nice people. And it's a really nice community in the Netherlands. It's a small country, so not many
Right.
people fence. Um, but yeah, I really love them and I enjoyed fencing so much. And I organize competitions quite often. So, and then the people I fence with in the club, they were also part of the organizers. So just one day, I think I just asked them if I could come along and take some pictures. And I did go and found it quite interesting and exciting. So that's how it started.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's super
Yeah.
sick. And nowadays, I mean, you go all over, right? You're at Grand Prix, World Champs, taking photos strip side and stuff. Do you have like a media pass or anything like that?
When I want to go somewhere, I just talk to British fencing, and they know me. They know me for a while, and so I'm okay to put their name on the
Right.
I don't know application form. And yeah, no one bets an eyelid. So it has always been okay and fine. And yeah, problem.
Good. And I mean, just from looking at your Instagram, the vast majority, if not all of it, I think there may be like an epee picture there and two somewhere, but I feel like the vast majority of it is foil. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean the reason for that is well the big main reason is because I don't get paid to do this. So if I go
Hmm.
to a competition that
Right.
is I finance it for myself and through the years I found that foil is the best to photograph.
Mhm.
Also, I also think that to fence as well, although I've never tried saber, so I
Yeah, I'm
can't I
actually
don't
a
know I don't
saberist
know.
myself, so
But
yeah, it's a
yeah,
different
to,
ball
to
game.
to 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 photograph foil is the best, I think, to
Hmm.
me. Epee can be a bit too boring, and Saber is just too
Right.
fast, and then you often end up with the same pictures all the time. But with
Right. Just
foil,
the
there's also
simultaneous,
yeah,
just straight in the
yeah.
middle, carry
Well,
five. It gets a little
well,
old, I'd imagine.
yeah. Unless you keep your camera and just shoot bursts thing all the time, but that's just crazy because you then end up with thousands of pictures and
Yeah.
that's
That's a full-time
way
job
too
just to
many.
comb through, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for foil, when you are setting up for your shots, what is what are you looking for? Are you looking for certain angulations? Like what was your eye kind of looking for
Um,
there?
I think I think I've got my signature angles and stuff. I think most of my pictures are taken from a low angle, and
Hmm.
most of my pictures are black and white as well, because I just love that, and I think it works nicely with fencing most of the time.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not a tall person. I'm quite short, and I can make myself even shorter. And I think, yeah, shooting from really low, it's unusual in fencing, and it just makes it more interesting, I think.
I've noticed a
So
lot of your stuff tends to be kind of lower wide angle shots, and I think that's what makes your photography. I don't want to I'm not a photographer. I don't want to put any analysis on you, but to me, it really captures like this speed of like, one of the fencers is coming towards the camera. You're like, whoa. So that's really cool. And you touched right now, I actually had that as one of my questions. Your kind of propensity for black and white. I know you've there's a few more colored images recently, but in like,
yeah.
2022, your account was almost all black and white. So if you could delve a little bit more into that, what about the black and white makes it so appealing for you? Why is that? Why does that work so well for fencing, you think?
That's interesting because one of your videos that talks about colors, fencing uniform
Right.
colors and stuff. And so I don't, or as a photographer, I may not agree with everything that you
Hmm.
would want to do because if you think about it, so if you look at a final, a prestigious competition, you have a black background. If you're lucky, if I'm
Right.
lucky, there is a black background and there's light only on the piece. So I don't mind that the fencers stand out so much. So if you imagine someone wearing black against a black background,
It's a nightmare for
I,
you. Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. But I don't know because fencing can be really contrasty because to a lot of white, the uniforms and the shiny piece if it's nicely lit
Right.
and if the background is not too busy, I think black and white just brings out more. It just focuses you more on the action and kind of blurs out the background. So if someone especially is not really into fencing but still has a look, okay, what is this picture? I think the black and white captures them more or just more intriguing, I
This
think.
makes it pop. It's
More
very stark, right?
and dramatic as well, I think.
When you are shooting, are you looking to capture more like cool technical actions, or are you looking to capture like are you more emotionally focused, like you're trying to convey like the emotions of the piece? Is it a blend of the two? What's the thought process or ethos behind that?
Oh, I don't think I have such a thing. What I like to do, I don't move around that much. So maybe I spot two fences and I just go there, sit down at the piece, and I just watch them for I don't know a minute or two just to get a feel what they are like, how they move. Also to find out which end of the piece they spend more time because
Right.
then I might decide, okay, maybe I should go to the other side. I don't know. And then with fencing, because it's so fast, I can't really plan ahead unless
Yeah,
I
you never
really
know.
know the fencer and then I know that okay, they like to jump around, then I just wait for those moments. But most of the time it is just I don't know, I just shoot.
Yeah.
I try not to use the burst mode too much or
Mhm.
too often because that just gives me just yeah leaves me with too much after work. So I don't like that. Post production when you have thousands of pictures can be really time consuming.
I'm sure. And you already
So
got to edit them and everything too on top of that. So
yeah, although I have my little presets, they're called. So when I open my editing program, over the years I've saved a lot of like, okay, the Paris cup or whatever cup. So I kind of know which one to go for, and then I click on that button and it gives me a an edit already, which I've developed over the years. So the editing process
definitely
can be sped
streamlined the
up.
process for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you're saying, that you kind of have to get a feel for the fencers first before you kind of set yourself
Yeah.
up. That's very, it's strategic. That being said, do you have like a fencer where you're like, oh, like anytime I shoot this person, I'm getting gold, like it's just great highlight shots. Like, do you have a handful of favorite fencers that you like to photograph?
Oh my goodness. I do have, I don't think I can name anyone right now because of COVID, there was such a long break. And then I think Paris now this year was the first time I got back on the piece, to the competitions to shoot. I don't know, it was a bit overwhelming and just suddenly remembering everyone and oh,
Yeah.
this guy, he does this or she does that. I don't know. I don't think I can name.
Yeah, that's quite all right. I mean, it's you shoot an overwhelming amount of people, I'm sure. So, and for the most
Yeah,
part, I mean, it seems like you are able to kind of extract what you need out of any given bout anyway. So I'm sure anyone is really, suitable for you.
yeah.
I wanted
I don't
to
know.
pull
Well,
up
but actually, there are some boring matches. To be honest,
really,
I again can't really name anyone, but sometimes it's just, yeah. I mean, I love those people who jump around and then do fun stuff, of course, because
yeah.
those look good in a photograph. But yeah, so
I'd imagine infighting is like
uh,
a big draw for you as well, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you get those nice crazy angulations, the core stuff like that. I wanted to pull up two images that I really love. These are my personal
Okay.
favorites, and then we can talk about what makes them good. This one is my all-time favorite of yours. I just wanted to see what you thought of it. It's like, oh, whoopsie,
Mm.
right here. This one is so
Oh,
sick
okay.
to me. This one is you say it's a close-up of Pauline Ranvier. And it just to me, it's just the angulation, the blade back, it just conveys so much like speed and like just like the
Yeah.
viciousness of the attack. And what do you think about the composition? What works in this photograph, you think?
So in your face, I think, and also how the blades just touch and just go in I don't know, like a triangle. But again, this is not a planned picture. You're just lucky. You keep shooting, and then when you edit, it's like, oh, this might look good if I do a
Yeah,
little bit of post production on them. So and then
very
I
spur of the moment
miss,
kind of stuff then.
yeah, yeah. But then I also miss so many good moments, of course. But yeah, what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah, that one is so great. I'll probably contact you a little later after this just to see about buying a print of that because I love that
Okay,
so much. I think it's fantastic.
thank
And
you.
then this one I had more of a technical question about, I guess. This is
Okay.
one of your, kind of staple low and wide angle shots.
Oh, I think that
Um,
was in London.
but yeah, it looks like you're right behind the fencers, It looks like you're
Yeah, so
really right there. How
it
do you
was
get the angle without getting hit or, if they flesh off the strip to the side, what does that look like?
yeah, I've never been hit. I
Lucky.
they well, sometimes they do let me, the referees let me come close to the piece, but I don't really go that close, and I have zoom lenses, so but these ones are shot with the wide angle, so that's why it's just so really in your face again. It feels so close. But yeah,
Yeah,
these are
that
really
was
good.
great.
But that's also luck because the fencer just came towards me backwards, obviously, and I just shot. And maybe I might have even moved out of the way just quickly because yeah, I don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
um, yeah, that happens often. I just click and I'm out of the
Yeah, you got to have a
so,
quick trigger finger, I'm sure.
yeah.
This next one, I don't know if it's a loaded question at all, so feel free to take a minute or two to think about it if you need to. But what is it specifically about fencing photography that is so powerful and so emotive? Like, what is it about fencing that makes for good photography?
To me or just to
To you,
anyone?
to whoever. Let's start with you.
I don't even know. So I really love those competitions when there is good lighting and just fairly clean backgrounds. And I love how the light hits the piece or sometimes the blades. Uh, I love light when it's interesting. And sometimes I take a picture and it might be boring. And then I know that if I make them black and white, it would look so much more. Sometimes I'm not right, and so those pictures don't make the cut. I don't know. I love watching fencing anyway. I love being there. It's just I wouldn't say it's dangerous to shoot because you've got to be careful. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's exciting. It can
There's
get really
intangible
exciting.
elements. Yeah,
Yeah, and then yeah,
definitely.
and I'm also excited. Oh, did I get that shot? Or didn't? So yeah, just yeah. And then yeah, I sit there and I wait and then I see the action coming and I'm just ready. I don't know, it's just really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's what
probably
I
is so much more. dynamic, than maybe the average like
Yeah.
courtside photographer at a basketball game or something. It seems like a very intimate experience. So that's really
Yeah, I
cool.
don't know. I've never shot any other. I mean, I've shot some sports, but never. Yeah.
Do any sort of like, the FIE magazine, any of the places over there, like in Europe, do they ever like come to you and offering to
Um.
buy pictures or anything like that, feature you in the magazine?
They have featured me. There's the Sword. It's called
The
the
British
Sword.
one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The British one have been featured in that one. Um. I think these days it's mainly just, well, as it always have been, it's parents that come to me and then ask me to come to certain competitions and photograph their kids. Or if I have friends, or if I feel like I just go to a competition here in the UK because that's
Yeah, more
not that
cost effective.
expensive. Yeah. And I just shoot if I feel like shooting. If I like the venue, like the second picture you showed me, that's quite an exciting venue. Or because there is a lot of natural light, that also helps.
Mm.
So I don't like venues when it's only just the I don't know what kind of, not
Fluorescent
so great.
lights, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, and then it just
What does the natural light add? Is it just like warmth, dynamics to the photo?
I don't know. It doesn't give warmth. I don't think so. I think it's just that it's more than the available fluorescent lights.
So I mean, I don't know how much of the video, it flattered me very much that you even bothered to skim through it at all. The videos that
No,
I sent you.
it's
Um,
interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, this channel is mostly, its main focus is growth and increased spectatorship and notoriety just within the sports industry scene. I actually, no secret that I'm a big fan of yours, but I think that fencing photography, especially the type that you do, has a large potential, in like a kind of dynamic magazine style, for growth and, growing mainstream interest in the sport. From your end, as a photographer, where do you see fencing's growth right now, like its trajectory? Like, do you think that your photography or just photography in general for fencing and new styles of capturing fencing have the potential to kind of increase our mainstream appeal?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I have a few friends who have nothing to do with fencing, but still started following my page because they found it interesting. So at least I've got that. So yeah, I think it's kind of difficult. I don't know. I'm trying. Yeah, so whenever I post a picture, I'm trying to see it from someone else's eye who has nothing to do with fencing and think whether this person would like or would find this picture interesting at all. I don't know where we are at.
I mean,
um,
it's nebulous, the
it's
future, who knows? But
but I'm trying. I'm trying my best to make it more popular.
what do you think of because in my opinion, just from the magazines that I've seen, I know some people are like, oh, magazines dying art or whatever, what have you. I think they're pretty cool. I think that when you make a magazine, it's special because you as the viewer, you're like, okay, I'm buying into this ambiance, this atmosphere for these pages. It's just not really something that you can get in a blog, in my opinion. But most of the fencing magazines that I see, they're very results oriented, like who's making the World Cups, these are the results, this, and that, right? And there's
It's
not too
because they are
many,
for fences.
right?
And,
Exactly.
and yeah.
So what would you think of a magazine that is, for lack of a better word, I don't have a very scholarly vocabulary right now, but the vibes, right? The like a magazine that is focused on fencing as an art form that focuses on pictures that present it in a dynamic, cool, interesting, arresting visual style. Do you think that's a good avenue towards kind of onboarding, getting fencing to appeal to the public as a sort of cultural touchstone, where it's just like, oh, this is cool. I just want to consume some of this media. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think could be done. I also have a friend who is a music photographer, but he
Mhm.
also loves my fencing photography, and he has suggested that I just pick some pictures and have a book printed, just
Yeah,
maybe just
that'd
for
be amazing.
myself. Yeah,
I would
I
buy
know,
it. So
but then,
you got one guaranteed customer here.
oh, thank you. But then I think, oh my God, I've got so many pictures. How I'm gonna pick even my favorites? Well, I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
bit daunting, but I might do it one day.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little magazine, not even a book. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, reserve a copy for me, please. I am more than willing to pay the
Okay.
international shipping. And last
Okay.
question, just because I don't want to eat you up for too long. Um, So recently, me and a buddy have been kind of toying around. We're not photographers at all, but we've been toying around with taking some pictures of fencing in kind of grittier environments, like underneath some bridges with like some graffiti and chunky concrete on some railroads and stuff. And it's not necessarily like fencers standing like this, right? It's maybe me in a lame and a mask, you know, bending my blade against the wall, just kind of articulating myself, very amateur model kind of thing, right? But my whole thing is
Okay.
fencing is almost always presented photography wise in a very clean kind of sanitized setting. And I think that, you know, putting fencing imagery out there that is a little bit grittier, a little bit more in touch with people's like day-to-day settings, is kind of a cool way to start introducing it to the public, and being like, look, this is accessible. This is something that you could come across in your day-to-day life. That's the vibe I'm going for. And I'll send you some of these pictures I've
Okay.
taken later, just so I can get your
Okay.
critiques and stuff. But have you ever considered just doing like shoots outside of competitions where it's just like I'm just putting fencing in interesting environments?
I don't think so. To me, that is more like art.
Hmm.
Um, as in, so I like when I just go somewhere and the scene is basically set up for me. I still have work to do because I need to find the angles, I need to find the good light. Um, so it's not that simple. But the only thing I've done with fencing taking out of the competition is when I do Lego fencing. I'm sure
I
you
saw
have
some of
seen.
those. Those are really
So
cool.
when yeah, that's how arty I can go. I don't yeah, I've never thought about taking it outdoors or I don't know, just doing. But actually, you could do fun stuff with it. To be honest, uh, just putting fences in everyday situations. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot to explore in
Here,
that field.
I did not plan for this or anything, but now I do want to show you just to get your your input on it real
Okay.
quick. And feel free to say, hey, compositionally, I'm here to improve. So let me just pull up something for you real quick. All right. So I don't know
Aha.
how good the picture quality is, but this is a shot that my
It's
buddy
good
did for
enough.
me. Thank you. So it's like we have the
Okay.
railroads, the kind of
Yeah.
perspective lines going in the back. So this is the kind
Yeah.
of thing I'm talking about, where we're taking fencing and almost making it like combining it with like street fashion type photography. So we have that picture, stuff like this, where it's like it's a little pretentious. It's a little, trying to be like
Yeah.
saucy or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing where I was like, I never see fencing presented like this. So I was just kind of trying to not even make it about
Okay.
fencing,
Okay.
but have it be like
Yeah.
fencing mixed with street fashion and like skateboarding style photography. So I don't know, what do you think of these? And I will not have my feelings hurt at all, I promise.
Yeah, I mean some of them are quite funny actually.
Yeah, they are, right?
Um, it's interesting. Oh, I was just thinking when you said you've never seen fencing presented like this before. Have you seen any other sport
No, not really,
taken it?
to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah, I have
Yeah.
like some down here and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Is it something that you would ever even consider doing like in the future? Or are you, like you said, you're mostly interested in like capturing authentic like competition moments?
Yeah, I don't know. You might have just given me an idea and I might have a think about it. I maybe even taking my Lego fences out somewhere,
Right.
just shoot some
Exactly.
fun with them outdoors.
I don't know how big you can really see these here. Let me see if I can
No,
zoom in a little bit
I
for you.
can see them.
So yeah,
I
there's like
can
my
see
attempt to
them.
kind of blend the grittiness of graffiti and kind of like street vibes and culture and stuff and still have it retain, like a fencing centric. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted
Yeah.
to get your opinions on it. So thank you for taking a look at those. All right. Well, I don't want to eat up too much for your time. I know it's getting kind of late over there. Thank you so much. Like you have no
You're
idea
welcome. Thank
how
you.
much I was looking forward to this, how much I
Thank you.
appreciate just getting to pick your brain on all this stuff. So there's Niki
Thank you.
Bruckner again, the best fencing photographer in the game, not even close right now. If you
Right.
don't follow her, you definitely should on Instagram. It's just Niki Bruckner. I'll throw it up on the screen right now. Do you have any closing remarks? Anything else you want people to know about you, your photography, anything at all?
I think I just like to stay mysterious. Sometimes people don't even know that I was there at a competition, and so they're just surprised to see that, oh, there are pictures by me,
There you go.
taken
Got to
by
keep the
me, and
mystique, right?
they, yeah. So yeah, I think
All
that's
right.
all.
Perfect. Well, thank you so
Thank,
much, Nikki. Hope you have a great
thank
rest of your
you. You're
night.
welcome.
And maybe we can have you again on in the future. Who knows? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.